Guys, we have a special guest today, the anonymous participant of our mock interviews previously. She got a job as a software QA, so she preferred to stay anonymously. Hi, Noah.
Hello.
Hello. Noah, why don't you tell us about your background and your journey to getting your first job?
Sure. So I actually have a degree in a STEM, but I had to be a caregiver for a family member, and I was okay taking that position and that role for our family, but also allowed me to have the flexibility to do other things. So eventually, I was able to do some data work for an application, which evolved into doing manual testing, which I really enjoyed. And I started to look into getting a more formal training. And so I went to a boot camp. I successfully finished it and I tried to get into the market, but I wasn't it wasn't successful because my resume didn't highlight my what I knew as a K tester. And eventually I started to network and I got a volunteer position and I was doing more QA work with that and being a caregiver. Then in January, I enrolled in Crushing Interview, which was so good. It just polished everything that I needed to address. I was putting in 20 to 30 applications every weekday. And then eventually I started getting more calls, and now I landed my position.
Awesome. But can you tell me, because I knew you personally, right? I knew that, wow, you had a degree in math, right? And then you took a boot camp. So for the graduates with math degree, what was missing part? Was it the knowledge? Was it like what was the missing part to get a first job in tech field? I thought because I would think that should be enough.
In my experience, they're looking for more than what you are getting in a boot camp. So I don't want to talk ill about boot camps because they do a great job of introducing people to tech. But I just remember after the boot camp, I took another class because in that boot camp, we learned about selenium. And when I took this other class, I realized how much was not taught in the class.
Before moving to bootcamp about the university degree. You're saying that it's still not enough with a math degree. Obviously, it's not computer science degree, but still very close. It's a STEM degree.
Yeah, in my experience, it wasn't enough.
Would you mind to name the bootcamp?
I don't think I should name them because, yeah, I don't think I should name them.
Because it is gonna be from the bad perspective you're afraid of.
I think so because it wasn't the teacher's fault. It's not
Mm.
because the teacher did a really good job of teaching the information because they had to juggle teaching it from people who do have a technical background and other people who don't have a technical background.
If the bootcamp, the classes were good, teachers, they were doing their good job, what is
Mhm.
the still missing part for you to get it to get
They
a job?
actually need people to actually have a real project because in the sense of this is a real client, this is a real team, these are real developers. Because most of these boot camps, they're just like, oh, go automate some site.
Amazon.com, for example, right?
Exactly. And although there are some amazing capstone projects that can come out of that, I've actually tracked some of my other classmates, and they too struggled to get positions. Like, there were a few who did land some stuff like pretty quickly. However, a significant number of us, it took us a while to get a position. When you look at someone's resume and it only says, oh, they have 3 months
Mhm.
or 6 months, we'll say, on a project, or yeah, it's not enough. In my opinion, it wasn't enough. At least that's what I faced.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had very similar experience when I was looking for my first job. Okay. Oh, and how did you find us?
YouTube, yes.
YouTube. You were searching like questions and answers for software testers, software QA.
Yes, yes, yeah, because even after I finished the boot camp, I just me as a person, I know that I have a hard time with public speaking. And so it's really helpful for me to practice a lot. And so I was looking everywhere and anywhere for technical questions. And then I stumbled upon you guys and I was like, this is great. Okay. And I just kept going to all of the meetups, the virtual meetups.
Tova, so you graduated from bootcamp. You found about us on YouTube. So tell me about your journey after that.
So with crushing interview, it reinforced what I did learn at the boot camp and what I was doing in my volunteer projects. I was able to articulate what I was doing. I have a hard time with public speaking, and so it was really helpful to just know how to structure my answers better. I continuously on the weekdays, I would apply 20 to 30 applications daily, but I had to keep a balance and have the weekends to myself because I would have gone crazy. But I came fresh every Monday and met my that goal that I set for myself. And with crushing interview, I was able to network with fellow classmates where outside of the program, I would practice with them questions because I have some strengths, they also had some strengths, and together I was able to get a better answer to my problems.
Tell me the process when you was applying and you was going through interview, when you failed, why you think you was failing at that time. Can you tell me about that?
So the ones where I failed, I just would reflect back on how I would answer. You just know those questions where you don't do well. And while I was doing the interview, I'd always jot down what the questions were. And I just knew which ones I didn't do well. And I would just keep practicing those over and over again. And then I would also bring them to crushing interview program and I'll just ask like what would be a good approach to structure an answer for a question and that was very helpful. Yeah.
Tell me about your how many interviews you failed.
Too many. Too many. I oh gosh. At least 15.
It's not too many. It's okay. How did you get the offer?
I remember at this stage of my process, I was so numb at all the rejection letters that I'd received. And so I looked at it and I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll just apply. Okay. And then I got an email saying that they wanted to talk to me. And I was like, okay, cool. Penciled it in my calendar. I talked to their hiring manager first and we got along pretty well. They just got like an overview of what I knew. They didn't go really in depth. Then all I got another interview and this time it was with the whole QA team. I don't want to say it was stressful, but like the pressure was there, but it wasn't uncomfortable because during crushing interviews we would practice talking to panels and that was very helpful people, different people asking you questions, and then also fellow classmates are there looking at you, so you get used to other people staring at you while you answer.
So you had a very similar interview. Was it also a panel
In crushing or in the actual interview?
in the actual interview?
Yeah, it was in the actual interview, it was a panel.
What kind of questions did they ask you?
Okay. They asked me about agile process. They literally went through line by line, or at least tool by tool in my skills. Because
Nice.
yeah, and that was really important that I want to share with everybody that you have to be very careful what you put on there. Yes, there is the temptation to just throw everything and anything, but they're gonna ask you those. They're gonna ask you because they asked me, why did I use it? How did I use it? What were the pitfalls that I faced? And I was prepared to answer them. And so that played very well in my favor.
Please, guys, remove everything that you're not comfortable to talk about. This is number one of all rejections. I understand that you may be in the beginning of your journey, but if you're not comfortable to talk about, remove it or learn it. I would prefer to learn it, but if you don't know, remove it. How long you was waiting for getting an offer?
It was within 2-ish weeks that I got the offer.
From the beginning.
From the beginning to the offer. Yeah.
You remember your last interview. After that, how quickly did they give you an offer?
The end of the day.
Really? Wow, that's awesome. All right, so I'll tell you, usually when you get an offer within the same day, that means you grounded. I know that you had hard times, right? When you were almost desperate and I was talking to you and was trying to calm you down. Come on, no, bro.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember. Yeah. You have there is a balancing of emotions because there's just so many rejections that you're gonna get at the beginning. Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it. It means a lot coming from an established person like you. So thank you so much.
I know people, it's a hard time to find a good job. What would you recommend today?
That is a very important question to ask. I know that some people will say that, oh, I'm in it for the money, but you need to figure out why you're in QA and always go back to that why. And also give yourself grace to just recompose yourself because, like, for me, when I would put in the 2030 applications Monday through Friday, I needed that break on the weekend. I need if when I first tried to do it every day, I just collapsed after
Mhm.
2 weeks because it's a job. Just knowing how much you can do, but you can do it well and consistently, and then going back to that why. Because I know that I've failed publicly on this platform on mock interviews, and I needed to dust myself off. I gave myself a couple days to dust myself off, and then I had to keep going because I knew my why and I knew that this was part of the process. So that's what I would share with other people.
Definitely. And one very important thing, Noah, I remember that interview that you think you failed, but honestly, you did not. I think you were overthinking that you were failed, or your thought process allows you to think that you failed. But I was talking to that manager, you did not. It's just the way how they do the interview. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's the good way or bad way. That's how it should be. But I would say, and all other listeners should be aware, right? Should be aware that you can have this type of interviews where you can be stressed and where you can think that you failed. I think I shared this story when I was also going through the interviews when I was looking for the second job. And the last interview was super tough. VP of engineering, he was super technical, and I think he was formerly Google engineer. So he was super technical, and he started asking me tough questions, and I wasn't able to answer them all, like maybe 50%, which is very high rate. If I know that if I cannot answer like half of those questions, that means usually it's rejection or something. But they hiring me, so they gave me an offer. So same thing. You think that you failed, but in reality you did not. So just keep this in mind. This is my advice to you. All right, guys. I think that was very inspiring story with Nova. If you guys want to learn more about our program, subscribe and join us. I'll post the link in the description below. Thank you, Noah, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.